You are now listening to the fastest show on IE Sports Radio. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. welcoming you to another lap of the extra mile for today, February 10th, 2022. Well, we just got through the clash at the Coliseum, and every metric pretty much says it was a successful outing in the Coliseum. We're going to talk about it here and get ready for the Daytona 500, and we finally got to see an actual 2022 Formula One car. Thanks, Aston Martin. You know, my good friends are going to help me talk about it. Christopher Lima and Michael Ward, they are here. I'll let them introduce themselves, and we'll get right to it. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thanks for having me, as always.
How's it going today? Tonight?
Let's go ahead and get into things. Before we do that, how was your week this week? We actually got some mild temperatures here in the D.C. area. I actually got to get out and get a walk earlier today, which is nice, and I need to because the winter fat storage needs to go. That's the best way of putting it.
I skipped Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's been pretty nice up here too. Temperatures have been up in the 30s, so it's been pretty good. Don't have to wear a full-on winter coat to work anymore.
You know, it's bad when the 30s actually feels balmy, but then again, that is upstate New York, so.
Yeah, yep. And then obviously a big weekend for me coming up this weekend is my beloved Cincinnati Bengals are in the Super Bowl. Please root for them. And also have been doing head-to-heads with Larry B on 3 and Out. Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern time. I will be going head-to-head again this weekend, so check it out if you guys are you're free.
Well, we definitely wish you luck, and we want to welcome everyone who was just listening to On Wisconsin Sports with Justice McGee, which just wrapped up about 30 seconds ago, talking about the NBA trade deadline, and of course, where Aaron Rodgers might be ending up. So if you missed that, even you're just joining us here for the Extra Mile, listen to us first, then go back and listen to that. That'll be up on the Spreaker show reel. But let's get into it. We'll start with NASCAR this week, and as we come into the off week before the Daytona 500, all the conversation has been about the clash on Twitter, and it's been extremely positive. The ratings were good. The crowd was immaculate, in my opinion. The cars looked good. They held up pretty well to damage. TV ratings were spectacular. Everything really points to this was a positive outing on the West Coast.
It would have been it was a really good race. It would have been even better if a certain driver didn't win, but you know, I'm gonna stop. It's been the third year in a row I've been doing that.
I don't understand why so many people hate Joey Logano. He's not that bad.
He's not. I've just been doing that joke for so long. It's like engraved into my mind.
Yeah, no, I thought it was about what I expected. As I had said to you, Daryl, when we were talking before we started here, it felt like up here when the first time it snows, we always say it. Everyone forgets how to drive in the snow. It just felt like everybody forgot how to professionally drive a race car. Because when I watched that race, I think the way that I can summarize it best is it did not look like the 30-some best stock car racers in the world out there on that track.
Especially the heat races.
And the last chance LCQ2.
The one Bubba was in?
Yeah, that was just terrible. Like, I hate to say it, but Harrison Burton is driving the 21, right?
Yeah.
He was a freaking, I don't even know what to say. He was Valtteri Bottas at Spa.
Wait. Hungary, but wait.
Hungary.
If Harrison Burton was Bottas at Hungary, what was Ty Dillon?
I don't know.
Pastor Maldonado.
Go ahead.
There was just a couple of guys out there that were real weapons. It's the best way to put it.
Ty Dillon, midway through that race, chose violence, and it was hilarious.
I swear he did.
He got that penalty for jumping the restart. Says, okay, everybody's just going in the wall now. And he just takes half the field out. He turned Bubba, he ended up causing or had a hand in the incident that put Kurt Busch out. Like, he just turned everybody. He ends up winning the race and still doesn't make it because he jumps the start a second time. So I'm just sitting there like, okay, so you went NASCAR Total Team Control Intimidator button for no reason.
Oh my God, I remember those days. It's like, guys, do we not play
that game? You know the ending animation when somebody's ticked at you and like the driver comes up, starts pushing on your character? That would have been like half the field in the LA Coliseum after that if it was in Total Team Control. Like,
yeah, I was like, guys, did we not play iRacing before we got? Like, did we not play iRacing like before the race started? Like, come on now.
But I will admit the heats had the perfect mix of chaos and actual short track racing, I'll call it. LCQ1 was pretty clean. LCQ2, go back and watch it, find it on YouTube. I mean, that's what I thought the final was going to be, to be honest.
It was a lot more tame than that, I think.
Yeah, once we got to the actual 150 lap clash, it was pretty tame. I mean, the drivers drove like what you expect the 23 best stock car drivers in America to drive like, at least in my opinion.
I'm glad it was 23 and not the whole field.
They wouldn't have fit 36 on that track. Are you kidding me?
Worth a shot.
I mean, they had 23 cars. They were getting lapped 7 laps in. Like, if they had 36, I don't know how they would have started the race.
You imagine the traffic. There'd be a car in your way every lap.
Well, the folks in LA would be able to relate. I mean, look, there's the 3 worst traffic areas in America are DC, LA, and New York. And each one lays claim to the title of worst traffic in their own separate ways. No, but LA...
We gotta throw Maryland in that list, I'm sorry.
Well, I just throw DC as the DMV.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, there's no way you can leave out Maryland and it's potholes out of this category.
Yeah, Michael and I know the hell it is 495. But LA highways, God forbid they ever have to evacuate that city in a crisis because no one's going anywhere. Like, they have 8-lane highways each way and still backed up. How do you pull that off?
You ever heard of the movie World of the Worlds?
Yeah, I actually went to go see that movie. It was really good.
So there was like 2 movies. And like one of them, they attack LA and they're like, everyone in LA has managed to evacuate. And I'm like, bull S word.
Yeah, that's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie. They evacuated LA. But anyway, back to the clash. What did you guys think of all the pageantry? We had the concert by Trackhouse team owner Pitbull. That is a weird sentence to say, by the way.
Yeah.
Before the race, we had Ice Cube, lap 75, and I have a comment about the Ice Cube performance, but I'll let you guys go first.
I was surprised to see Ice Cube there. I was like, wait, what?
I thought it was a very good way to create a little bit of a special show.
Yeah.
Make it a little different, try something new. And though I've never been to LA, I felt that it was a very LA type event.
Yeah. I also feel like the event, like the clash itself, would have been really fun to go to, even if you weren't a NASCAR fan.
Yeah.
I mean, they said 70% of the people there had never been to a race before, and it looked it. I mean, the merchandise trailers from the photos I saw were full, but what I was surprised about was how full the grandstands were. Because I thought if that place was half full, we may have been doing something. It was 70-80% full by the time we got to the actual clash, in my opinion. I mean, I'm over the moon with that audience. Yeah. You know, there were some knuckleheads on Twitter that were trying to downplay this, both the ratings and the crowd we saw. But I think if you're NASCAR, you're very satisfied with what you saw this
I
week.
think the TV ratings were also pretty good.
They said it was the best for the Clash, or best for Fox in this time period since 2016.
Yeah, TV ratings, streaming ratings. I think this was a really good event. I think this was some really good publicity for NASCAR.
It was. The two concerts before the actual race were pretty good. I'm pretty sure the FCC got some complaints about the Pitbull performance because the lovely backup dancers were. How do I say this so that we don't get Joe Rogan 10 years later? The things were The things that thing were thangin'. If that makes sense.
We're so getting canceled in like 5 years. The same.
I didn't even watch it, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Good.
Chris is the only one that will survive this. The backup dancers did a good job, but the dance moves and the outfits are probably going to get some FCC calls from a certain subset of our folks. I'm pretty sure we'll get a angry Sherry Pollock's tweet as well, if anyone remembers the Monster Energy Girl debacle. But
would these calls be coming from people who are in the SEC for football?
FCC, not SEC.
No. I'm saying.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. That football conference.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Bible Belt.
Yeah. And then we had the Ice Cube performance, which that man still got it.
And you could tell by the sweat pouring off him that it wasn't just a paycheck. He put it. He was into it.
No, he did a good job. But some of the folks could not find the rhythm when they cut the crowd shots.
Ain't that the truth?
Yep, there was definitely some two left feet having during those shots.
Oh, wait a second. What did you guys think about Tony Stewart?
Oh, he was perfect. I mean,
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
That man, if he didn't own a team, he would be in the booth full time. I mean, he added a lot to that conversation. Unfortunately, he had to see one of his cars get junked while he was up there. But
I really want to know
what was
going through his mind when that happened.
Yep.
Who was that?
Almirola got junked in the first LCQ.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was one of the only two cars that had really serious damage. In the clash itself, Justin Haley got the left rear or left front torn off because Kyle Larson got mad at him.
That
just put him in the wall, inside wall.
So weird to me.
It was short track temper. Larson got hit in the back.
No, it's not
by
even,
him.
It's not even that.
Yeah.
It's like the way he turned in and then the amount of damage. I'm like, wait, 30 miles an hour did that?
I mean, it's 60 into a concrete wall.
I mean, I guess, but I'm just like, damn, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen cars out here on the street, hit something of substantial mass at lower speeds and get absolutely junked. So I'm not surprised, to be honest.
I would expect that out of a passenger car.
Yeah.
But like a NASCAR, though, I thought it would be like a lot more.
I look at that as a driver and I think, good Lord, what's going to happen when we're going twice as fast as that, 3 times as fast?
Yeah.
Well, the extra momentum didn't help from getting yeeted by Larson. I don't know what these things are going to do. We've seen him we saw him hit the safer barrier a couple times, and they were fine. I mean, when they weren't getting sent in at a high rate of force.
Yeah.
The composite bodies really held up, which I was excited to see.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see people actually able to touch each other and not have one of their races be over because they have to pit and get new tires.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to see all that, they touch wheel to wheel and pop a right front tire or whatever.
Exactly. I think it'll actually make short track racing a lot more fun this year. Because at a place like Bristol, look at last year in the playoffs. Harvick nicks Chase Elliott, and then Elliott's race is over.
Yeah, that won't happen this year. It looks like.
Nope.
Did give us one of the fun rivalries to end the season, though. But
it did.
It was a fun rivalry, but I just feel like it really could have been avoided.
I don't think it's over. I really don't think it's over between those two. But
bro, it was the car's fault, not their fault.
Did you guys happen to see during it was either the LCQ or the actual Clash race when Denny Hamlin went out, but him and Bowman were standing there talking to each other like casually.
Yeah.
So
that was him and Reddick. I think it was him and Reddick because Reddick somehow broke the drive shaft when he was trying to warm the tires up.
Yeah. But I can't remember. Go ahead, Daryl.
Okay, and then Hamlin knocked the power steering belt off, and they just decided no point trying to fix it. He was laps down at this point anyway because the Toyotas did not have a good day at the Clash, other than Kyle Busch. But
yeah, I thought that it was interesting seeing Bowman and Hamlin standing there talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kind of felt like they just kind of got over it.
Yeah. I did really like how these cars looked, and I really think they're going to be great when they go on to the other race, especially Daytona in a couple of weeks when that race ends under the lights. Before we get there, I do feel like we're going to do the Clash here in LA next year, and I think they should already just go ahead and tell USC, hey, we're coming back next year. We'll see you then. I really think they should have a second one of these and make it the all-star race.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys, you know how you guys wanted to take some races away?
Mm-hmm. Like Texas?
Throw Texas into the sun, please.
It basically is already in the sun.
But
or throw it deeper into the sun.
But I was thinking, how do you guys feel about taking some of those races that you guys don't like and including more of these like really short track races, like Bowman Gray Stadium or stuff like that?
I would not want this as a points race.
Correct.
I just don't like the gimmick races counting for championship points.
Right.
But if you were to take the all-star race, take it away from Texas, and just travel around to different stadiums doing this, I'd be fine with it. Actually, I'd prefer it. Make it a whole all-star weekend thing like the NBA and NHL do. Finally get the pit crew challenge back, please. And then you could do it that way and just make it a whole event.
Yeah.
There's plenty of big stadiums around that can accommodate a track of that size.
Yeah, and then like you said, every year just change the location.
Yep. I mean, it's a perfect way to get to new markets that don't want to build tracks.
Yeah.
Like the whole Chicago street race thing that I don't know if that's going to happen at this point. We saw the track in iRacing, and then they haven't talked about it since.
Nashville has a street race.
It does. It was chaotic. I loved it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But NASCAR could take, if they don't want to do this street race in Chicago, have the race in Soldier Field like they did back in the 60s.
On turf.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. The problem is, and I was talking to a friend of mine who actually works with a NFL team, it's going to be the actual size of the field minus the playing space is going to determine whether or not they can do this other places to try and get that track in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if they came to FedEx Field, to do this, I'd go. It'd literally be the only thing I'd go to FedEx Field for. Because I hate that stadium.
I'd most definitely go.
Yeah. I mean, I would get a ticket and go, but...
But, I don't see that happening, sadly.
No.
Nah, if it does, that'd be crazy.
So I think everything was positive, really, for the Clash, except for Fox's camera work, which got a lot of bad press on Twitter. They missed a lot of stuff. I mean, they missed Blaney throwing the Hans. They missed a lot of the initial crashes.
Logano getting the lead.
Yep. They missed whatever happened there with McDowell and Truex at the end. And it's weird because it's a quarter-mile track. They shouldn't have been having these issues.
They should have had one camera with a wide angle just sitting up at the top.
That's all they had to do.
Some kid with his iPhone could have caught that whole track.
Yeah. I mean, that track was not that big. But they were also doing what I've asked them to do. Some of the Formula One style cinematic camera views, like what they were doing with the Olympic flame. That's a good idea. That's a good idea if the race is longer, but it's only 150 laps. You kind of need the shot on arena level, for lack of a better word, because you miss so many laps.
Yeah, if you're like watching a battle, then like that could take a good while.
Yeah. And they went to so many in-car shots. Like, guys, the track is not that big. You don't need to cut to that many in-cars.
Correct.
But it was everybody's first time in there. I know they had some audio glitches in the stadium with all the radios being that close together. I know there were some issues with... I know in the beginning during practice with spotters being able to hear. I know we couldn't hear Bubba on the radio at all during practice, but they managed to get that worked out, at least in the NASCAR side. I'm excited to see what changes they make for next year's Clash and what they decide to do with it.
Yeah, I think this is good. I think they need to keep going with these more stadium races.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll bring in a lot more publicity.
And now this week, so we're done with the Clash. We didn't really see any real issues with inventory of cars. Next week's going to be a different story. We're going to Daytona, the first super speedway race. We know it's coming, the big one. We've heard about how many teams don't really have that many cars. How conservative do you think the drivers will be, knowing that they may not have cars to get through the early part of the season, but on the other side, it's the Daytona 500?
So I think they're going to be a lot more cautious because of what happened last year. What was it last year or the year before? But
yeah, it was last year.
Where it was lap 15 and half the field was taken out.
Yep.
So I think there'll be a lot more, they'll still be racy, but they'll be a lot more cautious when they're racing.
I agree with you. I think you'll see what teams are confident in their inventory and what teams are not. The teams who you would expect to have cars on top of cars, Hendrick, Gibbs, Stewart-Haas. Well, maybe not Stewart-Haas, but Penske. Those guys might have enough cars where they tell the drivers, like, don't worry about holding back. But people like, Trackhouse, 2311, depending on what their inventory is, they might be telling those guys, like, look, you need to hang back towards the back. If an opportunity presents itself towards the end, absolutely take it. But we need to protect... we need to come out of this race with a race car we can use next week,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely the smaller teams, your RWRs, your Live Fasts, those teams are going to be playing it extremely safe. The money team, whatever that's going to do this year. Colleague is going to be an interesting part as well. as far as what their car is going to be. I know that Gregson has said that Beard only has the one car. Now, they're only doing the super speedways, so it may not matter, but even still, you don't want to junk your first next-gen car and wonder if you're going to have enough pieces come March when the next plate race is at Talladega. So,
yeah.
It's going to... Team's going to have a lot to try to think about on what they're going to do. But I honestly, no driver is going to be thinking about that with 10 laps to go in the Daytona 500, about how many cars they're going to have.
Oh, yeah.
They'll think about it for the first 190. Once we get 10 to go, it's send it time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the way these cars kind of race on a plate track, I'm kind of looking forward to that.
It will be fun. I don't know. I mean, super speedways are going to be super speedways. So that's not going to be indicative of what we see the rest of the season. Once we come back out west and get to the mile and a halves, that is what I am keenly excited to get to, because we know that's been the Achilles heel for NASCAR really since they went to the NA 18D package. The mile and a halves were awful. We saw them do the testing at Charlotte. It looks like that problem is going to be fixed when we come back out. But let's be honest, it was much cooler there than when we go back to California here February 27th for the Wise Power 400. However, the rear end of these cars is not secure on the track. We get a greasy racetrack, it's going to be a handful, and that's going to create some good racing, and that's going to create some exciting racing at a 2-mile speedway that I think we're all excited to see once again, which is these guys having to fight these cars.
Yep.
One thing that we didn't talk about yet, Daryl, was the numbers. I was not distracted in the least by number placement.
It's funny how that issue that was literally destroying NASCAR Twitter didn't become an issue once the cars actually started racing.
Yeah. I actually kind of like it.
I do too.
I mean, I liked it from the beginning, but it's almost like it wasn't that big of a deal. But
correct.
Oh, Twitter.
Twitter be Twittering. And
Twitter
we'll see how they get to Twittering after Daytona.
Maybe the reason that people haven't been complaining about it is because all those people that said they'd never watched again didn't.
Well, if they didn't, that's more space for us. But we'll see. We're going to take a quick break before we get into the second half of the show, which includes us talking about the Aston Martin Formula One cars. We finally actually get to see a 2022 F1 car. But before then, of course, we got to thank the folks that pay our bills to keep us going, which includes the Southern California Warriors. And folks, the world of semi-pro sports, is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. And the SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in SoCal or anywhere else in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance. If you love your sport, you may get that second chance you have been waiting for as an athlete. Check them out on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, on Instagram at Southern California_Warriors, and Facebook at Southern California Warriors. We'll be right back after this here on the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, everybody? This is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you. Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Attention, all sports fans! If you're someone who wakes up each morning with a list of sporting events to go along with your to-do list for the day, then you just might be a diehard. The world of sports is as vast as the ocean is deep, including the major leagues, the minor leagues, the college, and everything in between. This is me, your boy Larry B of IE Sports Radio, welcoming you to join me every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on The Defining Moment, a show that focuses on what really matters in the sports world, sports themselves, and nothing outside of them. Once again, tune in for The Defining Moment with me, your boy Larry B, every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on IE Sports Radio, right here on Spreaker.com. We'll see you there.
To the Soccer Scoreboard Show with your host, Gabriel Montoya. This is the show for soccer, football fans, or whatever you call the beautiful game. Every week, I tackle the latest and greatest news from around the soccer world. From the English Premier League, to the World Cup, to MLS, Liga MX, and more. You can listen to the Soccer Scoreboard Show and our lineup of fantastic guests every Friday at noon here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
Businesses, are you looking to background check a new hire on? Let Kit Freeman take care of that for you. Kit founded and has managed Background Check International since 1994, and he's here to help you with the screening process. Contact Kit and let him make the hiring process that much easier. This business is used for professional background checks and not for the use of any crimes such as identity theft or any other illegal activity. Check him out on social media at bcint.com and Background Check International-BCI on Facebook. So we're back here on Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. Got some non-mainline motorsports going on this week, of course. I was just looking here on Twitter. World of Outlaws were in Volusia, Florida, and guess who was there? Kyle Larson. He didn't win. He finished second in the feature as they're starting the Florida Speed Weeks down there for the Dirt Series cars. Of course, it'll transition to Daytona the next week, but of course, Kyle Larson just got done racing in LA and goes back and does what? Well, more racing. So,
yep.
That man does not get tired. We also have NHRA going into Phoenix. They are doing what they call their spring training down in Fireburg Lake, getting ready to go racing for the Winter Nationals, which will be on the same day as the Daytona 500, which will be on the 20th. Be checking that out as soon as the Daytona 500 is over. And one of the big teams that are going to be down there, Tony Stewart, is going to have a nitro car down there. I believe in Funny Car and Top Fuel, if I remember correctly. What are our realistic prospects for that team. Because he's got a couple of really quick drivers in Matt Hagan and Leah Pruitt, but this is also a new team coming together. So there's going to be some bumps, some bruises, and a lot of broken engines, as we know with how NHRA likes to get down.
I think they'll do it. I think they'll do good. And what I mean by good is like maybe do top 5, maybe even win, but I think they'll do good.
Yeah. So we will see what they do. Cannot wait. That racing will get started next week. Of course, we also have Monster Energy Supercross. Have not been keeping up with that the last couple of weeks. Been busy on Saturday evenings, but they are starting to get to the part of the schedule where it's a little bit easier to watch. They will be racing in Anaheim, California. So another 10 o'clock start. If you have Peacock, I really do think you should check it out either that day or catch the re-air, which is still commercial free if you've got the whole Peacock Premium package thing. They do not sponsor this, so we're not going to go too far into that. Instead, we're going to get into the Formula One car. And guys, we actually got to see a true blue 2022 Formula One car.
Mm-hmm. With the livery on it and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It was cool to see an actual car.
Yeah. First couple of launches have basically just been, this is what the livery is going to look like. I mean, we had the Haas and Red Bull livery renderings, which Red Bull could have just saved that. I mean, we know what their paint scheme is going to be. It's like death taxes and blue, red, and yellow on a Red Bull racing F1 car. Like, I could have told you that.
Yeah.
Kind of same with the Haas one, though. It was underwhelming, to say the least.
Yeah.
Very underwhelming. And you would think they would try to make that, a much more positive ordeal. Seeing as how
that's the one team that has to. There's expectations on them going forward because you punted last season. You better do something this year.
Yeah, like you punted last season, Mick Schumacher's rookie season.
So the AMR 22 broke cover during a car unveiling earlier today with Aston Martin. What did we think of the vehicle? I think it looks pretty cool.
I think
Cannot wait to see it actually on track, but it is a beautiful looking machine.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I can't wait. I honestly, it looks really good. I really want to see it on track. Like, a set-up course, it can only do so much.
Yeah, like we were kind of talking about before, Daryl, it was definitely interesting to look at the photos up close, really look in at the finer details on it. The front wing is nosed up instead of flat, which kind of threw off the look of the car. And then those side vents are square, which seems a little funny, but they know more than we do, so obviously it works. But the biggest thing is I don't like the nose, how it comes off the cockpit of the car. And on the previous cars, it came out kind of not necessarily flat, and then it kind of did a sharp angle down onto the front, towards the front wing. And this one is just kind of one solid curve, and I do not like it. It kind of looks like a banana to me.
And we were talking what that possibly could be for. My thought is that it might be for the new or the new front end crash regulations that the FIA has set up. And as I'm looking at the picture of the new Aston Martin racing car right now, the nose does look a more gradual slope from back where the feet would be in theory down to the actual front nose cone. So that's probably having something to do with the new crash structure requirements. The other thing I've noticed, they got the square inlet boxes, and they've got the fake little concave inlet there to, I guess, fit the regulations. I'm wondering why they've done that. I can't really hypothesize. I'm not a Formula One engineer, but it's definitely gonna be aerodynamic related. But it looks like they're going to be taking less air through the side pods than maybe we would, or maybe they, I don't know. I'm trying to fill time here, try to figure it out. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, these people are much smarter than us. So it's there for a reason, and they're trying to get the dirty air off these cars as best they can. I don't know if that leads in maybe into the engine somewhere, maybe cooling for the batteries or something, but it's going to be taking air in somewhere.
Yeah.
And then, as Chris mentioned, that lower element of the front wing is bent upward to try to get air, instead of over the car, underneath to the ground effects, to create downforce that way, because they can't really make a lot of downforce on top of the car, so all that aerodynamic grip is going to be coming from below the car, which means floor damage is going to be more punishing this year, than ever
more
before.
punishing than on F1 2021?
Probably.
Oh, man.
Yeah, if you get floor damage in F1 2021, you might as well just restart or just retire, because it's not going to be a good day.
Yeah. Floor damage, especially at Spa.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you guys think of the car? I can't really say what do you think about its prospects, because we don't know how any of these cars are really going to perform. And as Chris and I were talking before the start of the show, we're probably not going to know until the first quarter of the season who got it right and who got it wrong in terms of their formula. And that raises some eyebrows for me with Red Bull and Haas, where it's, why wouldn't you just show your car? I mean, nobody knows how these things are going to work anyway. You might as well just show people what you're doing.
I think it's just Red Bull being secretive.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you have to start it up or anything. You're just taking some really nice picture, some good quality photos is all you're doing, and
yeah,
it makes me wonder.
I don't think Mercedes is going to go write that down. Write that down.
Well, Christian Horner has a Toto Wolff personalized factory tour coming up.
That's going to be
so
hilarious.
Apparently he's not going to be able to take that tour. And if you guys didn't hear about this, Mercedes was doing a charity auction, and Christian Horner actually bought one of the prizes, which was a tour of the F1 factory for Mercedes-AMG F1. However, there's a rule in the contest that members from other F1 teams are not eligible. So unfortunately, we will not get to see the awkward photos of Toto Wolff showing Christian around the just F1 factory.
That would have been hilarious.
The memes that came out about it were pretty good, though.
The memes were hilarious,
and the ones that would come out afterwards would be even better.
Yeah.
If it would have happened, the memes, we were robbed of some A-tier memes if this actually happened.
And here's Lewis 2021 trophy. If we had one.
That'd be funny if they had one made up.
Too soon, guys. But
no, I like the idea of them. Someone had wrote like, "Oh, Mercedes should quickly fabricate all the things that worked terribly, like all of their terrible design ideas, and put those out there. Like that's what they're going with."
I mean, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I would do the same thing, honestly.
Just try to throw them the wrong direction. But again, I don't know if it would have mattered, because we just don't know. I think that's the best part about this F1 season. We don't know who's going to have it right, who's going to have it wrong. That's exciting. That's what we've wanted for a long time, is unpredictability in the F1 World Championship.
Absolutely. We got it last year, that's for sure.
Yeah. To that point, I hope when we get it this year, the officials stay out of the way.
One can only hope.
Yeah, and that's for either side, no matter who it is running for the championship. My only hope is that the officials stay out of it, because it's created a situation here where it's February And people are still talking about the Abu Dhabi finale in a bad way. I mean, Stroll came out and addressed it during the AMR car reveal today, voicing his displeasure. So, and we talked about some things that we would like to see. We're not going to bore you guys with this. I really don't want to make every time we talk about Formula One here until the cars get started, me complaining about the Abu Dhabi finale. But you know my feelings about it, and you know what I want to be done. It's probably not going to be done, and we'll move on from there. So I know we're not going to get pictures from the Catalunya test for whatever reason, but seeing these cars at Bahrain in anger for the first time is going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Another thing that would be exciting is if Leclerc can pull off something better than 7th.
You know what, Chris? You know what? I hope on the opening race, Verstappen has a flat tire.
Probably will. I hope it's around a low-speed corner.
Yep.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. We were talking about the last year's point standings as well. Leclerc should have finished a lot higher if Ferrari had just checked the gearbox.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, if he checked the gear, well, he would have only went back 5 spots, still would have got points, instead got nothing.
Correct. And finished 7th.
Yeah.
You know what, Chris?
Well, I'm just saying it was. It's not Leclerc's fault completely, mostly, but not completely.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't check his car over. That's somebody else.
The Ferrari in general the last 2 years got awful. So when I play
We
F1
cannot wait until we get some racing in Formula One. Can't wait to see more of the new cars. Let's figure out when the next car reveals are going to be. And do you think we're going to see car reveals out of everyone, or is it just going to be more livery
It might be
reveals?
Although Ferrari kind of teased theirs,
Mm-hmm.
because on their Facebook page they showed the drivers wearing like their new merch with the Santander logo and everything on it, and I saw like a lot of black and a lot of red, so I'm like, oh, this might look nice.
Yeah, new merch that costs $50 for a hat and $80 for a polo. But
if we were rich, we would buy it. Let's not lie.
Yeah, if. So here are the next car releases. McLaren will be releasing their car, either livery or actual vehicle, tomorrow. Next week, starting on Valentine's Day, we'll be seeing the AlphaTauri machine, followed by Williams on the 15th. The 17th, we will see Ferrari release their Challenger. The 8-time World Constructors Champion Mercedes will be putting out their car, going for an unprecedented 9th straight Constructors title on February 18th. And then after that, February 21st, will be Alpine. And Alfa Romeo will release their Challenger on February 27th. So that is your remaining launch dates in the F1 2022 calendar.
I appreciated your little intro there for Mercedes.
I have to hold something from last season, damn it.
That's true.
We're talking about you're gonna talk about Hamilton like coming back.
Yep.
From the social media claims.
Yeah. So we have one more piece of business before we go. As you know, next Thursday will be the duels at Daytona, so we will not be on the air. Those will get started at 7 on, I believe that's on Fox. Let me check. Don't want to tell people wrong. Those will be on FS1, starts at 7, so we will not be on for our program. However, we do have to do our nearest the win picks on who we think is going to win the Daytona 500. Now, my thought is, since it's far too early to decide who we think is going to win, We can make our selections via Twitter next week after the duels are over and we know who's going to be in the field and go from there. But what I want to do now is, what's your guys' way too early prediction on who's going to walk away from Daytona with the win?
Way too early prediction. Chris, what about you?
I'm thinking.
My gut just wants to go Hamlin.
That's what I was thinking too, but I don't know.
It's somebody you can feel like that can get it done in big countries. It's tough.
I've gone Bubba the last couple of years. We had some close calls with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay in the Toyota camp, but I really think this is going to be the year Kyle Busch finally gets over the hump and wins the Daytona 500.
Wait, he's never won it?
No, he hasn't.
Wow.
Really?
Yep.
I find that kind of crazy.
So I am going to say that the champ picks up where he left off.
Kyle Larson picking up a championship. Picking up 500.
But I don't know. I've never really considered him a strong plate track racer, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. But that's my way too early anyway.
Got the champ picking up where he left off. You know what? That might actually happen.
So we will make our official picks via the Extra Mile Twitter next Thursday, or look for that on Friday after the duels are complete. We'll have qualifying on Wednesday next week. We'll have 2 rounds of practice on Tuesday to get us started with the speed week at Daytona. So folks, it is time for us to say good night. Of course, I'm at DK Jr. 12. Chris is at Fiji Sims, and Michael's at Michael_Ward25 if you want to check us out on Twitter. And of course, for the last 7.5 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content, ranging from interviews with legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans. With your help, we are ready to take that next step. When you go onto the website, iSportsRadio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers, starting at just $5 a month, which will get you a shout-out on all 32 of our shows. And higher tiers include iSports Radio merchandise, access to the podcasting university, and a chance to be featured on a segment of our flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you all very much for continuing to make iSports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. And if you missed any episode of any iSports Radio show, of course, it can be heard wherever you get your podcast. And of course, check out the YouTube archive, which has episodes from a long, long time ago during the storied history of IE Sports Radio. So that about wraps it up for us here. For Christopher and Michael, I'm Daryl. This has been The Extra Mile, and we will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.